Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of TechCondo. My name is Petra. Really appreciate you for being here, and indeed my name is Petra Vergen, as you can see right here. And that's actually one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is automation. That's right, automation is really important so that you can focus on delivering your content. And in this case, vMix is the sole provider of the stream, but I do want to tell you, and come to think of it, I will be making a slide from now on for every show, just like vMix does, where I will show you what my setup is exactly like, so that you can, try to figure out if it's something for you. So vMix, as I have it right here, is really my, the live streaming software that I'm using. I'm actually not using an ATEM switcher at the moment. That will change. However, on events, I actually have vMix as either the live streaming software and the overlays, and before that the ATEM, or alternatively what I also sometimes do is that I have vMix as input as key and fill to the ATEM. So there are multiple ways of doing that, and we will definitely talk a lot about all these different things the coming few months. That's right. So today marks the start of a new, setup again for TechCondo. We'll have a lot of content coming your way, especially until at least the mid of December. We will be talking vMix, definitely one time a month. We will be talking about the YOLO box, definitely one time a month. And we're going to talk, of course, about the ATEMs. And I think that the ATEMs will start again roughly in October timeframe. And the reason that I can say that way is that, believe it or not, I have cleaned up, almost there. We will be talking vMix. Oops. Definitely one. Sorry for that. I will definitely show you that I actually cleaned up my studio, so I now have way more space to set my gear so that I can show you some ATEM delivery. I'm gonna just leave it at that for now, but I will definitely talk about that moving forward. There will be also a big project coming, but I'm not sure when I'm gonna start with that yet. But once I know when I'm gonna start with that project, will definitely be, and you will know about it. Actually, if you have paid attention the last couple of months, you will know that something is coming. However, I do not know exactly when it starts. So if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, so that you get notified for future content. So indeed, subscribe to the channel. It's not working. There it is. Do you see what I did there? I just talked and it just did it for me. That's so awesome. There's something else which is also coming, and that's also really, really cool. That is that I will have a 2,000 subscribers party coming your way, which is so cool. And also that was fully automated just by saying the words that was there. So we're going to talk about how we're going to use that moving forward. But before I do that, I do see some questions. I will definitely also talk about those questions. I see one that I will talk about definitely, and I'm also using, but let's first greet some people. So yeah, first and foremost, I needed to tell you that my computer was a bit awkward. It's really aimed towards the audio side of things. My computer is 12 years old, and for some reason, the USB ports are dying like one every few months. So I'm literally down to the minimum set of USB ports that I need for the show. So one day soon, there will be the need of changing this computer. Again, this computer is 12 years old, so I'm okay with that. It has been a great computer for what it is, but definitely looking into a new computer. And it might be as easy as a laptop, because all my cameras are NDI, so that makes sense. All right, let's see who is live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Central European time. Of course, MT was in the house from the get-go, which is really, really cool. And I also see where was I? So MT was in the house. DJ Ware was in the house. He was saying, looking forward to today's live stream. As do I. I love to be there with you guys. I see a lot of people talking to each other, which is great. And indeed, the PC seems to be successfully rebooted. Definitely the case. And MT says, greetings to my dad, who is indeed in my living room at the moment, together with playing with Scooter, and where Kermit is at the moment, the older cat. I don't know. He might be on this side of the condo, and so I might be in luck that I will see him. But Kermit is a cool guy. He's really laid down, so that's okay. Bill, all the way from the windy city of Chicago. Welcome. Really appreciate you for being there. R2D2 is now on vacation. Oh, where's R2D2? Oh, R2D2 is way behind that. He's still there, but indeed you cannot see him. So I'll put him back. What about ProPresenter, says Samuel? Absolutely, I also use ProPresenter. There is a space for that, in my opinion, but we can talk about it. Let's talk about that. Maybe we can talk about it now. Yeah, let's talk about that first. Okay, so what about ProPresenter? What do you think about ProPresenter, and how does it relate to vMix? Both can be used. So that's the first thing. Of course, ProPresenter does work on both Windows and on Mac, which does mean that you have a little bit of a more open architecture at your disposal, where vMix is really aimed towards Windows and the NVIDIA cards, specifically because of the way that it has been built in the past and still. And where I think that vMix shines is that, in my opinion, vMix is easier to work with, to configure. But once it is configured, then I think that ProPresenter is actually easier for people that you just need to add as a slide or a video or something. So I do use ProPresenter specifically for iMac work, which means that I want to display something else on the screens in the venue. Then on the live stream, for example, if there are some lyrics that I want to display, then locally it can be full screen with nice graphics behind it, and at home it will be a nice lower third, which is really cool. So that is a possibility that ProPresenter does perfectly, and that is also not possible with vMix. So that's a unique value for ProPresenter, in my opinion. It does also stream if needed, so that's also a possibility. But yeah, it's just a matter of what you like most. I think that automation wise, if I'm not mistaken, and this is an assumption here, sorry for that, I think that vMix has more possibilities than ProPresenter has. That being said, ProPresenter is very professional. So yeah. Hope that helped. Go Web Technology says namaste back. Cool to see you. Anty says voice activated, cool. I've read about also OBS can do that too, but haven't tried it out. Yeah, so you do need to articulate better than I typically do, but it is really cool because look at this, no hands, just for the sake of it. This will go away. It may be a little bit harsh, but it will go away, and then something else will come up. So the 2,000 subscribers party, boom. That's awesome, right? It will come. I hope very soon that we have about 2025 left before we can do that, but it looks like next month will be possible there. Go Web Technology says, what network live solo will use if you have no LRT subscription and you are connected to LAN, Wi-Fi, or USB? It will take. Okay, LAN and Wi-Fi, it will take, I think, the fastest, if I'm not mistaken. But it will only take one. So LRT is a live view reliable transport. Live view reliable transport is a protocol that binds multiple SIM cards or multiple networks together into one big signal. And in the live view solo, you cannot really say which one that you want. You cannot give a preference, so to speak. That's something that the system will do for you, and you don't have anything to say about it. Where if you have a more professional broadcast quality live view, then you are able to say, I want to have the preference to LAN, or I want to have the preference to 4G modems or 5G modems. So that is a possibility that you have on the bigger systems, not on the live view solo, unfortunately. Jason, my friend, welcome. Appreciate you for taking the time on this nice Saturday to be here. Cool. Thanks a lot. And also Raul is in the house. He says, welcome everybody. And a lot of people are saying still welcome and hello, which is great. Last couple of hello from Oost-Friesland. So that is cool. So very, very cool. And MT says ProPresenter is a combination of a Declan card. In combination with a Declan card is a correct combination. I totally agree with that statement. I also use ProPresenter in my live events productions, but not here, not in this production, so to speak. That's really vMix oriented. All right. So let's get things going. So I already showed you that once I say subscribe to this channel, then something will happen like this. I also said that if I would say 2,000 subscribers party, then this will happen. If I would say, for example, other things, then that can also happen. Now I do need to quickly do a fix here. I see before I show you, so I will do that, and hopefully it still works, because I did have a restart just a few minutes ago, and it might lead to some issues. So let's see. So this is my desk. As you can see, it's not a lot of space. As a matter of fact, it's not a lot of space anyway. But I can maybe show you my new phone, not for the sake of showing you the new phone, because that's not part of this show, but more to show you what is possible. So let's take a closer look at the this nice phone. As you can see, you can go in here, and this is close enough. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Oh no, this is perfect, was it? So you have all of these kinds of zoom out. Let's give it some time to zoom out a little bit. This is, I think that I've changed it to this is perfect. Perfect. There you go. I forgot about the words, but as you can see, you can really talk about the nice phone that you have, and blah 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 blah, and it's really cool. And you can also say zoom out if you want. So zoom out and zooming out without anything else. I can say zoom stop. And then we'll stop, but I think that I've changed it. Oh, there you go. So now it's changed. So you have a lot of functionality. Now, of course, this is a little bit of a, a gadget. So just to show what is possible. However, like I said with the subscriber thing, that is really cool, because you're not going to forget it. And you can also use it for, if you say, hi, my name is Petra Verbruggen, it will automatically say, based on Petra Verbruggen, that there needs to be a low third. So that is really cool that that's possible. So okay, I see some comments, but I will be talking about that later. All right, so how did I do that? How can I do that? So first and foremost, let's talk about shortcuts and triggers within vMix, because that is where it all starts and shines with. And in order to do that, I can actually show you my my setup. So now if I go here, you'll see me here on the left hand side, so I can still talk to you. But this is basically the vMix layout for people that have not seen it before. This on the left hand side is the preview. On the right hand side, this is the program that you guys see at home. Then on the bottom, you see all of the inputs that you have, and you can have a lot of inputs at your disposal. For example, this is the input that you just saw, the 2000 subscriber party, that's right there. And on the right hand side, you see the audio that I can also see in one go. Now, vMix, if you look at automation, you got actually four different functionalities at your disposal. The first one is shortcuts. So shortcuts allows you to either press a button or press a key on your keyboard, or on an X keys, or on SCAROI devices, or whatever, so that something is happening. And typically, it's only one step that is happening. So one function is used in the shortcut. There is a possibility to add in an advanced tab additional shortcuts, but typically you see it's only one. A shortcut, and I will show you how it works, will provide you the possibility to have all kinds of, let's say, API functions that you have at your disposal. Then you've got activators. Activators is a bit out of scope for this one, because activators, basically how I use it all of the time, is to give visual feedback on what is running. So for example, if I'm recording something, I want to have a button turn from, for example, gray or black white to a redder color, so that I can visually see that has changed. Then you've got triggers, and triggers are based on inputs. So if you want to overlay an input, then you can add a trigger to that. If you want to cut to an input, then you can also add triggers to that. And there can be multiple triggers side by side. And that's actually how I start the show, actually. So I will go through how I start the show in triggers. Then I will go into the shortcuts to show you how I've set up the voice commands. And then if there are any other questions, then please let me know. So, okay, so as you can see, I'm here in vMix again. And typically what I do is that I always start the show with the countdown. So the countdown is actually two parts. So this part right here is what you see, but the countdown timer is literally this one right here. So this one is overlaid on top of this backdrop. This is just a looping backdrop. And if I go into this cogwheel right here, then I can go to triggers, and you'll see that there are a lot of different triggers, and you might want to utilize let me go back to this so that you can see me, and then go back to this one right there. Okay, so there you go. Now at least you can see me and still see the same thing. So so here you have all of the setups that I have right here. So in this case, all of them are on transition in, and on transition in means that if I cut or fade or any other functionality from one input to the other input, especially the input with the lower third, then I need to do then these are this is the trigger on transition in. And what I do is that I actually start the countdown on this timer, and that's the timer that is this one right here. So as you can see, it's not currently not started, but it actually fires off a command to vMix that it needs to start down the countdown timer. Typically it's 10 minutes. Today I actually changed it to 4 minutes due to being a bit late. Then it will stop the stream. And basically it just starts the stream command in vMix, and in this case I'm streaming to both vMix and to vMix, both to YouTube and to Facebook at the same time, and that is just started. So that's basically the second thing that it does. The third thing that it does is it does a audio off on the studio mic. So here you see, by the way, all of the triggers that you have at your disposal. So so on transition in, for example, but you can also have on completion. So that means that if you're going away or after the timer is done, I mean the timer is done, that's on completion. The transition out, that is if you go back from this input and you go to another input, then that's a transition out. An overlay is literally what it states. It's an overlay, a low third, for example. You can say overlay in or overlay out. Then you've got also some functionalities on audio meters that you can use. Then you have on countdown completed. That is of course a very important one, because definitely I'm going to use that. And then on call connect or on call disconnect, I have not used that before, but that's related to vMix call. Then if you go into the functions, then there's a plethora of functions, and there are way too much functions to go over all of these today. I'm also not going to do that today, but as you can see, there's a lot of things that you can do. Maybe it is wise to really go in depth into the the folders that you have here. Generic, I'm not going to talk about, but audio is of course related to audio inputs, to volumes, to that kind of stuff. Transition is if you want to change something in your transition. The outputs can be changed. So for example, the full screen, you want to start, stop recording, that kind of stuff can be done. Start, stop streaming will be here as well. Start streaming, for example, start, stop streaming is here as well. You can change titles if you'd like. You can add inputs or change inputs, etc. You can you perform overlay functions. The playlist is in there as well. Scripting, there's also the possibility for really like VBA kind of like scripting in this, which will even more empower you to do a lot of automation at your disposal. You also have replay functionality within vMix if you have the Pro or 4K license. NDI, of course, you can add. So for example, you can run an NDI command, you can perform an NDI start recording, stop recording, etc. PTZ controls, that's what we're going to talk about today. And there's also some presets and data sources. Data sources can be very important. I will be talking to somebody that is building a setup so that you can easily have a run of show. If you have that every single time, then you don't have to think about what it is. It's just pressing the next button and it will automatically do something else in the show. That will be a possibility in the future as well, etc. So those are the ones. Of course, you need to add the input that is required. And as you can see, I'm also adding quite some duration, some delay to make it go from one to the next, to the next, to the next in a simple go. So those are triggers, and these triggers are really looking a lot like the one that we're really going to work on today, and that is the shortcuts. I will show that to you in just a bit. There it goes. So here you have also a shortcuts tab, and of course, like everybody within vMix does have a lot of different shortcuts at their disposal, but I also now have some voice commands, as you can see right here. So we're going to set one of them. We're going to remove those for now. I'm going to just remove them, like deleting them. And we're going to add them together in just a bit. But before I do that, let's go back to the main camera so that I can check if there are some questions. Samuel says, what is the place of the ProPresenter in the future of your show? Not in this show, to be honest, Samuel. I don't see a reason for me to move away from vMix for TechCondo. TechCondo is a one-person show, and it's always roughly the same setup. For me, it does not make sense to go with ProPresenter because of that. And I just showed you, there is a lot of functionality going in. Also, for example, these comments are also going via vMix. So there's no additional application somewhere else. No, this is also vMix related. So that makes it also a little bit easier for me. But ProPresenter I will be using for example, church services, or maybe alternatively, I can also be using it for future gigs like concerts, to provide some additional graphics on the big screens, the IMAX screens as we call them. That is what I'm going to use ProPresenter for. I might also use it in case of let's say a show that somebody else needs to do the graphics for, because then it's really easy just pressing the correct video or overlay, and it automatically will do a correct job. I do see that as a possibility, but as long as I'm doing it all by myself, ProPresenter does not make sense. For like I said, on events with 2 or 3 people that are working together, it does make sense to use ProPresenter as a key and fill source. So the way that I'm seeing it as a key and fill source is that you can use it, like for example, your comment below, you can use that via ProPresenter to provide the lower third. You can also play videos with it with audio. So that's also a functionality that you can do. And above that, you can also use it maybe for some, in combination with your ATEM, to provide some lower thirds that you have pre-created. But where ProPresenter you need to do a little bit more upfront, vMix you can do a little bit more on the fly, in my opinion. But that's me. But that might also be because I have used this piece of equipment for maybe 8 years in a row, like every week. So that might not be the same. And he says, on my last gig this week, we've had no 4G in the house. Only we had opened a window. We got barely a bit of connection. Luckily, we had. Luckily, we had all the hardwire to the company network. Luckily, we had all hardwired to the company net in the house. That's cool. That's cool. Go Up Technology says, what is the clocking on your PC running vMix? CPU clocking. As you might have seen, is that the CPU is at the moment not doing a lot. As you can see, it's roughly at 9%. So it's basically not doing anything, but the GPU is full throttle. So it's 100% all of the time. And again, a 12-year-old system. So something has to give after 12 years. So I am okay with that. And I'm also like let's burn it up, so that when it's really not working anymore, then I'm just gonna remove it from this setup. And I might be tempted to just use a simple laptop. I'm not sure yet, but it might be. Otherwise, I have some other possibilities already. So if it happens like 5 minutes before this show, then I have a problem. But if it happens during the week, I have enough backup functionality at my disposal to make it work. So don't worry about it. Rol says, do you recommend to stream with vMix but add the web presenter from Blackmagic to reduce the load on the computer? This is a very good question, Raul. So at the moment, for what I'm doing right now, I do not see a reason to add the web presenter. But for shows where, like events where I am actually switching with the ATEM, I mean, this is very important for me. I do want to switch with the ATEM if I'm at a local event. I do like the the texture of the buttons. I do like the possibility to have almost no latency at my disposal, and then I'm using vMix really only for bringing in graphics, being video playout, being lower thirds, being that kind of stuff, right? Not so much for streaming, even though that could be, but then I need to put it on the back. But then I have another problem, is that then I am introducing a delay if I want to send it out to local screens. And that is the problem. I don't want to send that out to local screens. I want to send out to local screens without a delay. vMix, even though it's not so bad, it does introduce a half a second delay, which you will see. And that is a bit of a problem, in my opinion, for local display. If I'm not displaying anything locally, I will put vMix at the back as a streaming service, due to the fact that I think it's good, that it's a great streaming service, and I can always use the live view solo or any other live view to bring it to Facebook or to the TV station. That being said, if you have a web presenter, you can, and your laptop or your desktop is really struggling with its current CPU load, then in that case, I would recommend, if you already have it, to use a web presenter. MT says that's what I do, what I like to do. But keep in mind, the web presenter sends out a variable bitrate. YouTube might will have CBR, constant bitrate, and may give some notifications on bitrate. Notification on the bitrate is too low. I have a problem with reading today. I don't know what that is. Sorry, guys. But it's only today. Hopefully next time is better. Hey Rob, great of you to be here. What did I miss? So much. You have to really check out the repeat. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next part, and that is setting up the voice commands, because as I just showed you, I just removed them. So now if I say subscribe to this channel, nothing will happen. So let's start with that one, so that I want to have 2,000 subscribers, so that's a very important one, of course. So I will go back to my vMix setup. As you can see, I will hit on our right top set. It states settings. Click on settings, and then let's put this one right there, so that you don't have that loop feeling. Then let's go to shortcuts. So in settings, go to shortcuts right here. And then we want to, I thought I removed them. Let's remove them one more time. Remove. There we go. And now I'm going to add it. So now I'm going to add. I want to add a voice command. So that is roughly pressing the V a few times in order to get voice. And I need to have a phrase, a catchphrase that it will start with. So for example, I want to say something about subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. And if I say that key phrase, it needs to do something. What does it need to do? Well, it needs to perform an overlay. So like a layered structure within vMix. And I will use overlay 4 for this one, for in. So that's the transition in of input 4. And I'm going to use this one right here. Believe me, that is the video that I need. And basically, that is all that I needed to do here. Boom. And I'm going to hit OK. But before I do that, I do need to say something else, and that's you do need to do one more thing to enable voice commands within vMix. That's really important, otherwise it will not work. And that is, again, in settings, go to the audio tab. So let's do that again. At this in settings audio and hit voice shortcut enabled. So that needs to be enabled, and then tell them what channel does it needs to monitor in order to know what it needs to do. And it can be all buses up to G. It can also be the master, which I have chosen because that is good enough. I also think that the confidence can also go a little bit lower. I'm going to cancel it because I think that if you change this setting, it will ask you to reboot vMix. It's not a good idea during the show. So, but you can set the confidence level. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, it should work now. So, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, then it will pop that up, but it won't. Why not? Subscribe to the channel. There it goes. So you do need to be very articulate on what you do. So if you're a native American speaker, it will become easier for you to do this as for myself, because I'm not a native American speaker. So that is the first one. The second one that I want to add is, of course, my party that it will be coming in October. And that is roughly the same idea. So let's keep it simple at the moment. I want to add, again, a shortcut right here. Going to shortcuts again, and then add. Unfortunately, the voice is really difficult to find. So I'm just pressing the V until I reach voice. And then I'm going to add a key phrase, and that would be subscribers party, yes. And then I want to add a function again with an overlay, and the overlay is in. So it's basically the same setup. So this is the last time that this is the one that we're gonna do, and that is then the 2K run right there. And that is fine. And again, like I said, you can add additional triggers if you'd like, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to say OK. And if I hit OK, it starts to be enabled. That was the reason why it didn't work the first time. But I hope that you will be available for the subscribers party sometime in October. So go ahead, and hope to see you. That might be a small giveaway. We're trying to figure something out. So that is, again, no hands, subscribe. Oh, very close. I misclicked. So it was my bad. Anyway, that was that one. So now I have a zoom camera right here, and I want to connect with that one. I want to do something. So in order to do something with that, I need to first make sure that it's connected to the PTZ camera connection. So I need to set up a device type, which I already did. I need to give it an IP address, which I already did. And then I hit connect, and the possibility for zooming in and zooming out needs to be verified, including focusing, which I'm not going to do at the moment, but that looks great. This is just a simple system that does not do a left-right turn, so it's only zooming in and zooming out, but it's good enough for what I do with this. So let's check it out. Let's make some PTZ commands going. So let's do the same thing. So it's a bit of a repetition, but it's important to know how it works. So we're going into shortcuts again, and we're going to add a voice command. Now, again, v voice indeed. And now there are a few ways of doing this. So we can just call it zoom in or zoom out, or go left or go right and stop, etc. Those things are possible. However, I like it to be more of a natural language, so that it does not, it's not that obvious that you're controlling something. So for example, in this case, I'd like to say like, let's have a closer look. Right? Closer look. So if I use the words closer and look very close to each other at the same time, then it will automatically start to zoom in to a location. I can also set a preset, by the way. So I can set virtual presets in vMix, and then it will run to the presets. But I do like the very slow zoom in and zoom out. It gives a little bit more of a nice feel to it. So I'm going to do that in this case. So I'm going to hit PTZ in this case. So again, in the functions, hitting the PTZ, and I'm going to say PTZ zoom in. So close look runs PTZ zoom in, and it states here preview, but I'd like to be very specific on what input that you need or you work with. Then I'll also add a value of the speed. So 0 is really slow or non-existing, and 1 is extremely fast. It's so fast that you cannot do anything. So I like it to be a bit, let's say, not so fast. Now I do have a problem to see if this is a, yeah, that's the one I want. So 0.2, and I hit OK. So now if I say those words closer and the other words, it will automatically do the thing that I want. So let's show that. So here you go. Let's take a closer look, and we'll automatically zoom in. Now it will not stop because I have not provided yet a stop functionality. So we'll go in, we'll go in, it will go in, and we'll go in. We'll never stop until it reaches the end of what this zCam can use. So that's a bit of a problem that we need to fix. So in that case, we need to have also a stop function. So let's go ahead and add that as well. And that's a shortcut again. Voice. Again, cancel. Click on voice right here. So the other was closer look, or something like this, or maybe just call it perfect, because even though I'm using the word perfect in this daily life, it just stops everything. So that is fine. So I'm going to use the word perfect for that, and I'm going to go to PTZ. I'm going to say zoom stop off the camera, this one right here, and I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit OK again. And now let's do this live. So I'm going to manually zoom out again. This is manual. This is me pressing a button. So there you go. And now if I say, let's take a closer look. It's not working all the time, eh? Let's take a closer look. Closer look. There you go. So let's, perfect. There you go. So that's your perfect stop. So as you can see, it is really, you have to be very clear to the system what you want. But I do like it from the perspective of, if you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel, and it will automatically show you this, which is really cool, I think. Gerald says, does it also work with other languages than English? I have not tried it, but knowing how vMix is working, I do know that it's will be using standardized libraries from Windows. So I do believe that if you talk standard German, so generic German, let's call it that way, it will. I will not be surprised that it will work at all. So the Netherlands or Dutch is quite a a problem because it's quite a bit of a niche language, of course. So that's always a bit of a problem. But and it is definitely something that is, always a little bit more difficult for us. But as you can see, I can give it some time and I can let it do what it needs to do. So that is really cool. Rob says, could you give a brief overview of how to set up functions and what use cases there would be? Well, functions is a bit of a more difficult thing that I need to prepare. I can show that to you. It's not that I can't, but I don't have anything at the moment running, so I need to prepare some cool stuff. Oh, I'm pressing a button. That was me. Yeah, so I need to prepare that part, unfortunately. But yes, I can show that to you. But I assume that with functions you mean the scripting, right? So the one that I can show you right here. So let's go back to settings. You have the possibility to run scripts here. So you add a name, you give the script, and then you just write it down, and then you can run it. That is something that I need to prepare. MT says, maybe you can use a dedicated mic only for the voice commands. Yes, you can. So absolutely, MT, that is definitely the case. And that's the way that I would recommend to use it. So again, I'm a one-person band and I wanted to do something based on what I'm saying. So some use cases that I thought about is that now I need to press a button to say that about subscribe or something else. Can I maybe I should make that subscribe a little bit more difficult, because that party thing is getting on my nerves. So there you go. I switched it off at the moment. So a few use cases that I'm thinking of during a real show is that you can have a microphone connected to, for example, the A bus or B bus or C bus, and that A or B or C bus is fully for local, let's say, production communication. So that's totally outside of what is streaming to the outside world, but it's only for yourself. And you just say here on the settings, you just say to it that you want it not to listen to the master audio output, but to a bus A, B, C, or whatever. And that'll work. And that's exactly what I would do. What I also would do is that I would use it for maybe even shows where you know that somebody's coming, and you say, oh, this is lower third Petra, lower third MT, lower third Rob Fischer, for example. And then you don't have to look for it. You can just run it very easily, and that will also save time. And you're already working with two fingers on switching the cameras, and then it will automatically pop up the lower third. There's one catch though, is that you also need to always have a switch off shortcut as well.
I didn't catch that.
I'm not talking to you. It will automatically start it, but it will never stop it. You do need to give it another command to stop it. I see a command. Gerard says, I think I have to build a Windows PC and try vMix. I'm a little bit biased, to be honest, Gerard. So I've been talking vMix, of course, at IBC for a long time. So yeah, so for me, it's like a second nature. But I do think that it has a lot of potential for a lot of people out there. And vMix is also used not only for hobbyists or professionals like us, or producers like us, but also by big CNNs or BBCs and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of people that are using it. All right. Thinking out loud if I have forgotten anything. I don't think so. I think that I've showed you quite a lot of functionalities. We talked a little bit briefly about triggers and how you can use triggers, and that they're actually exactly the same as shortcuts, where a shortcut is only one action and a trigger can have multiple actions and are based on a movement of inputs or audio. And he says, like you say, it would be handy for a director-producer kind of production. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Okay. Did I say the word? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, thank you so unbelievably much for being here. This is the last part of this show. If you like this kind of content, then you know what you need to do. You can subscribe to this channel so that you get notified for future content. And now it's not working. Subscribe to the channel. There you go. As you can see, you need to be, but this is really because of the complexities, because you can also make it more iffy by lowering the confidence that it has. But it does come with some getting used to, of course. All right. So next week we have a Q&A session. In the Q&A session, we will be talking again about the YOLO box. We can also talk about more about the shortcuts that we have right here. We will also briefly talk about the YOLO box mini, which I got from YOLO Live, and we will definitely talk about that next week during the Q&A session. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I will also talk about how you can use a YOLO box for a Teams or Zoom call, so that you don't have to bring along an ATEM, or you don't have to bring along an vMix computer. You can make a very nice production just from from a small box, which I think is really, really cool and a really good use case for these boxes. So I would highly recommend to go to come and show and look at that. That will be in 2 weeks' time, and after that you will see, yes, it's coming back, the ATEM switchers. We're coming back to that as well, because as you know, I do like the ATEM switchers. I actually have a few of them lying around, and there's always a use case for those. So we're going to talk about those as well. And I am really pumped to show you what we have in store for you this year. But there's way more to come in 2023. Have a fantastic weekend. See you around. I hope that you liked it. And if you have any questions after the fact, please write down a comment. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what you have to do. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye-bye.